So, I'm going to be reading The Purification of Women. Now, some of you are going to be offended, but this was the ceremonial cleansing thing, okay? So, we don't do this today. It was back in that time. So, then the Lord spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, saying, If a woman has conceived and borne a male child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. As in the days of her customary impurity, she shall be unclean. Now, let me pause for a second. The only thing that was allowed to bleed in the tabernacle was, guess what? The sacrifice. Okay? So, this is why. And on the 8th day of the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. She shall then continue in the blood of her purification 33 days. She shall not touch any hallowed thing, nor come into the sanctuary until the days of her purification are fulfilled. But if she bears a female child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks. Now, this is what my personal opinion is. I think the reason why, I'll have to do some research on it, but I think the reason why that if she has a female, that she's unclean for 2 weeks instead of 1 is because women bleed. So if you have a little woman, eventually that little woman's going to bleed. So, as in her customary impurity, and she shall continue in the blood of her purification 66 days. Oh, let me pause one thing there too. I did do some research on some of it. That people think, oh, it's so mean, she couldn't go to the temple and all that stuff, she couldn't do this stuff. Back then, women, when they were on their period, they were not required to do any work. Okay. They were kind of sectioned off, like, all right, here's your space, we leave you alone, and a lot of people looked at that like, oh, they're shunning them because of the blood. What woman on her period doesn't want to be left alone? When I'm on mine, I like to just relax, be lazy. It'd be nice to be able to call the work and be like, I'm sorry, I can't come in for a week because I'm on my period. Try watching a bunch of kids when you're on your period, and especially if you're the only teacher there, and you got to go to the bathroom, and so then you got to line up all the kids, stop them from what they're doing, line them all up against the wall to the bathroom, okay, and then you can go, and while you're in there, they're going to be misbehaving while you're in there, because they're like, haha, teacher's not watching. So, I think there should always be 2 teachers, honestly. Just personal opinion. But, when the days of her purification are fulfilled, whether for a son or a daughter, she shall bring to the priest a lamb of the first year as a burnt offering, and a young pigeon or turtle dove as a sin offering, to the door of the tabernacle of meeting. Then he shall offer it before the Lord, and make atonement for her, and she shall be clean from the flow of her blood. This is the law for her who has borne a male or female. And if she is not able to bring a lamb, then she may bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons, one as a burnt offering, and the other as a sin offering. So the priest shall make atonement for her, and she will be clean. So, that was back in the days of the tabernacle. We don't do that today. Some of it I wish we did today, like the part of women just being like, yeah, no, you can't work, sorry. You're not required to do any work. We leave you alone, stick you outside the camp somewhere, relax. I mean, today probably look at it like, oh goodness, you're being outcast kind of thing. Back then the women are probably like, oh yeah, poor me, I can't do any work. You know, my husband's Starscream just started talking. Just randomly. That's Starscream. If you can see it. He just randomly started talking. That's pretty funny. And Starscream has something to say about it. Anyway, peace, yo.